He gets those old engines running again with the good Lord's help and a prayer.
Alright, so we're back with the Homelite XL, and we are going to dig into this thing, try to get this carburetor out of here so that we can rebuild it. Alright, so first thing is, let's try to take this handle off. Looks like we got a couple Phillips screws on there. I've already taken off the hand guard, just a big flat. So these carburetors are a little bit of a pain to get to because they're buried down inside of this thing. I mean, you can see the engine is totally encased, which makes it a little bit more of a challenge to get in there and do things that you need to do. Take that screw out. This thing should pop out of there. There we go. Alright, there's our handle. Let's see. Got a couple screws here to take the pull start off. They're flathead, and also it's like 8mm. And I'm really hoping that we can get this carburetor cleaned out, and I went ahead and purchased a carb kit for it. We'll get that installed and get this baby running where she's supposed to. Well, she's a pretty decent little saw. I mean, it's obviously not a extremely powerful chainsaw. I mean, it's just a small top handle. Wow, look at that. All this is bar oil and sawdust. A lot of guys call this saw hash. We'll have to take that to the parts washer and clean that out. I mean, because you get enough in there, it'll start to restrict the airflow, which is what you need to help cool the engine. So that's pretty important. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take this spark plug out. Get it out of the way. Let's see. It's a small one. 5/8. Bingo. Put that 5/8 on there. Take that plug out. What do you guys think? These out. Some on the bottom. That's a Phillips. That's a flathead. These look like Torx and flat. Thinking if we take those out, this thing will slide out of there. What do you guys think? That's right. Let's go for it. Let's do the bottom ones first, since they look kind of funny. Phillips. Oh wow, that's super tight. Oh my god. Being sarcastic. I don't know if that's original. That doesn't look very original to me. another screwdriver. That one was too big. All right. There we go. That one's tight. That's good. Whoa. Okay. You got a little shorty and a long one. Shorty and long. I'm 100% confident that is not stock. It's not factory. Alright, let's see if this is a T25. Bingo. That one out. This one out. Those were actually the same. Those looked like they were actually factory screws or bolts or whatever. Yeah. Look at that. Okay. I've got my throttle on there. Oh, those tanks are just flopping around in there. I guess that's normal. Oh, spark plug boot. Wiggle that out of there to get that throttle off. Not breaking anything. Technically, I don't have to take this thing all the way out, I guess. Okay, let's leave it like that. Oh, kill switch. Sure, all that's in hook. Sweet. So it's also an 8mm or flathead. Oh, some of these are long. Seriously? Oh. Pretty sure somebody's been in here before and messed with this. That fuel line off. It actually, the fuel line is actually pretty supple and squishy. It's not hard. That's good. Son. Let's see. Alright, so there's your engine. You can even see down inside there and see the crank, the rod. See the rod right there with the little needle bearings on it. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I need to get this off of here. Take that off. Okay. And this is a little reed valve. See that thing? It opens and closes. Let's try to pop that off of there. Well, let's see. If I can leave that on there, I won't have to replace that gasket, especially if it's stuck like that. We'll just leave it on there. Let's Let me grab the other carb kit. Okay, here's our other carb kit. All your parts, some instructions. Pretty straightforward. Shows you how to adjust the metering lever and where everything goes. So, not worried about that right now. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we've got, well, looks like everything we're going to possibly need. Looks like they give us some extras here, like some extra stuff. This looks like gasket for that. Wow, nice. I don't even think it had the gasket for the air cleaner deal. So it came with one of those. That's cool. All right, let's tear into this thing and see what we can find. And sure, our new parts look the old parts. Let me put this way. Yeah. This guy. Nice. Looks right to me. So this is this. I want to make sure you match those up so you know if they're the same. Oh yeah, there's some dirt in there. This guy matches up to this one. It's the same. So there's new parts in there. Some junk. Definitely some junk in this thing. Wow, look at this. Look at this gunk. Yeah, she's not gonna run with this big booger in there. That's for sure. So we'll get that all cleaned out. All these flathead screws out. Oh, feeling pretty confident once we replace all this stuff that we'll get this thing to start up and run off the carburetor. So that's what I think. What y'all think? You think that's gonna work? It's your old pump. She's a little crispy. And there's their new one, and you can see just how floppy that is. Look at that. It's the right thing. But we want to see. There's our metering lever. And our kit came with a new one of those and a new needle, I believe. Yeah, new spring. Okay. I don't see a new metering lever, which that's fine. I mean, usually, there's nothing wrong with those, but probably change out that needle. Clean all this out. Get all this gasket material off of here. We don't need that no more. You can check that. You can check that height on that metering lever. So we get on into it. See what it looks like under here. Now you could go online and probably get a knockoff one of these carburetors, like a Chinese carb or whatever, and you can do that. I mean, I've done that before. With various equipment. I like to use the original stuff if I can. Just tends to work better. Sometimes with those knockoff ones, the quality on those tends not to be that great. All right, so yeah, goes on there. That's correct. There's our old spring. We have a new one. So put it over there. And we're just going to replace all this stuff because we have all new, so might as well. It's a little dirty down there, not bad. Here's our needle. We have a new one of those as well, so we'll clean all this out, clean the throat of the carb out really good. Yes, it looks okay. I think it'll be fine. I'm just going to take that off of there. I think it's really stuck on there, though. I may just try to clean it. Definitely need to clean this screen out. If you guys can see how dirty that is. It's pretty disgusting. I mean, definitely needed a carb clean, and definitely needed all these diaphragms and stuff replaced. So, all right, so here's our chainsaw parts. Like I showed you before, they're super dirty. A lot of saw hash on there, bar oil, and sawdust mixed together. It's inside the case. Pretty disgusting. So we're gonna put them in the parts washer here and clean them up by hand. I was gonna do the engine, but I don't want to get any water down in the crankcase and where we took the carburetor off. I mean, there's a big gaping hole, so I don't want to do that. I'll probably clean that up with some brake cleaner or carb cleaner or something, and get all that stuff off of there. So here we go. This thing works really good. It's water-based cleaning solution, and it gets really hot, so should take most of this grime off of there. And who knows, this thing's probably never been cleaned before. So it's getting its first bath that it's probably had in who knows how long. Instead of being thrown in a junk pile in a landfill somewhere, we're getting it cleaned up, getting it running again, giving it a brand new life. Oh yeah, it's getting there. Oh yeah. I mean, we didn't have to do this, but why not, right? I mean, we're into this far. Might as well. I don't know. What would you guys do? Did you go this far? few extra minutes. I think it's a good thing to do. My toothbrush out here. Let's switch some of these intricate areas. That's good enough. Oh, spot right there. Oh yeah. Much better. Much better. Look, the throttle linkage. Don't want to lose that. All right, let's tackle this guy. Oh yeah. Look at that red coming back. Very nice. It's be a lot better because now this engine can breathe, which is pretty important. I mean, it is an air-cooled engine. The engine does get cooling from the air fuel mixture, or I guess I should say the air oil fuel mixture because it's a two-stroke, but the engine gets a lot of cooling from that. But it does have fins on it, on the cylinder, to help cool it down. And it has a fan. The flywheel has a fan on it, which draws in air through this and blows it over those cooling fins. So you want to make sure all this is cleared out really good so the engine can stay cool. And you can burn a saw up by the engine not having adequate cooling. If this is clogged up, if the cooling fins are clogged up, if it's not spinning at a high RPM, a high enough RPM to get enough airflow across the engine, then obviously you can burn it up that way. So this is important, doing this. At least I think so. I don't know. What do y'all think? I think that looks a whole lot better. May not be 100% perfect, but way better than what we had, what we started off with. I think that looks good. Clean out the parts washer. Toothbrush. I don't want to get all that gunk and grime in my teeth when I'm brushing my teeth. Yeah, I'm not going to use that for my teeth. All right, that looks good. All right, I'm going to use some carb cleaner, or actually it's brake cleaner. Basically the same thing. Just I think it's mainly acetone, and I'm going to use that to clean this thing up. Just to kind of give y'all more of a, it makes for a better video than just throwing this thing in my ultrasonic cleaner. But anyway, let's just do that and go from there. Got my toothbrush again. Let's see. Just going to spray this stuff off, and got a paper towel here. I'll lay the clean parts on just to kind of soak up some of that brake cleaner. Let's take it. I mean, basically you're just spraying everything off, cleaning it up. The ultrasonic cleaner does a great job with this, really does. And I use Dawn dish detergent and water, or Pine Sol and water. Pine Sol works really good. I like it a lot. But I mean, the brake cleaner does a good job as well. It's not as thorough as far as all the little, small passages and nooks and crannies. The carb cleaner it can't get down in those most of the time. Some of this stuff. But I mean, I've had good results with both. I mean, I'm not knocking carb cleaner. It does work. It's maybe not as effective. Spray all this out. Some of this is really caked in there. This is where that giant clump of fuel or whatever it was. There's a screen right here, and I have a replacement one of those. I may replace that. Just kind of pops in there. Looking pretty good. Got to get that gasket material off of there. Go ahead and clean the outside while you're at it. I mean, might as well. And it's a good idea to wear gloves when you're doing this. I can't say that I always have. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm apt to wear PPE, gloves and safety glasses and stuff like that. When I was younger, and I'm not, super old or anything, but as you get older, you tend to realize that, yeah, should probably be more cautious about the stuff that I expose my body to. Harsh chemicals and things that are proven to damage your body. So, and I'm in a pretty well ventilated area, so I'm not breathing in a bunch of these fumes. All right, let's set this stuff to the side. Pull this over here. Let me get something to scrape that gasket material off with. I had a blade, a razor blade. Let me look in my toolbox. Sure, I got something in there. Here's the one I was looking for, and here's another one. All right, use this guy. He's a little rusty. There's something to get underneath this gasket right here. Oh yeah, that off of there. Remember, always cut towards yourself, so that way, if the blade slips, you cut your finger. You know, it's really important. Try not to do that. Really stuck on there. It's one of the most aggravating things on working on anything mechanical is dealing with old stuck gaskets. Seems like every time I turn around, it's like, oh, another gasket to scrape off. And it's important, especially if you're working on an engine. Say you're doing a head gasket or something like that, and you scrape all that material and it falls down in the oil pan. Make sure you get that out of there. It's really important. Ask me how I know that. There we go. I need to break away one of these blades off of this thing because it doesn't have a very good point on it. Let me do that. I almost got it though. Well, this is extremely exciting. Scraping gaskets off. You know, when you're the one doing it, it's kind of therapeutic. Which I find working on stuff like this is it's nice and therapeutic as well. It's kind of a stress reliever. Your mind is focused on what you're working on and not focused on all the, I guess you could say, negative things that's going on around you. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way. I don't know. Y'all feel like that? You're working on something that's kind of a stress reliever. And it can also be a stress provider. If you're working on something and it's not going very well, and causing you all types of frustration. Yeah, so it can go either way. But you know, when you figure that problem out and you get that thing running, that engine running and working or whatever, man, it's a great feeling. All right, we'll stop here. I'll clean this up a little bit and I'll get the new carb kit and we'll get that installed. All right, so we're going to get back on this carburetor and get this thing put together, put all the new parts in there now that it's clean. I've got all the diaphragms and gaskets laid out here up top. I've got our new needle. There's a new screen I'm going to put in there. That was what had that big old clump of goo, the big booger in it that was right here. So I went ahead and took that out and cleaned that out with the brake cleaner. We'll put a new screen in there. There's another screen right here with a little like spring clip there that's holding that screen in. I'm just going to leave that one in there. I could replace it. It wouldn't be hard, but it looks really clean, and so we're going to leave it in there. So we got all that laid out. We also have new metering lever springs that came with our carburetor kit. There's a WE and a WN, and I lost the spring that came out of the carburetor originally. I don't know what happened to it. I must have dropped it. And those things are so tiny. They're really hard to find if you drop them. But the WE, I believe, stands for Western Edition. This is so that your carburetor is calibrated for a higher altitude, like in a mountainous area. And then the WN is just your standard. I think it stands for maybe Western, which is just your stock spring. So we're going to put that in there. More than likely, that's what was in this saw. So we're going to set that one aside and just use this WN spring. So let's go ahead and open this little bag. Get this spring out of here. And all our other parts are laid out here. So set this stuff to the side. I've got a little centering punch here. I want to use that to push that screen in. So let's go ahead and do that first before we do anything else. So there's your screen, your new one. Put that in there. I'll work it in the hole like that. I'll push it down in there with this centering punch. And if you don't have this, you can use, I guess, like a wooden dowel. You could use a screwdriver if you do it carefully. You just want to push that thing in there and make sure it's seated down in that hole. I could have probably left the old one. It wasn't super dirty after cleaning it, but I have the part now. It's easy to replace. I use this pick to take the old one out, just kind of hook it in there, pry it out. So that's what I did there. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and do this side. So this side we have some plate, this little gasket here. Set that down right there. We have a hole right here, and this is where our needle goes. Here's the old one. There's a new one. We'll drop that down in that hole like that. We'll take our spring. It's going to go in this little pocket. These springs can be a pain. So tiny. All right, like that. If I remember correctly, this goes like this. Right. I think that's right. Yeah. Spring is going to fit, like I said, in the pocket. That guy in there. And then on the bottom of your metering level, you got a little raised part right here that spring will kind of seat in. And you want to kind of there with that spring. I'm telling you, those things are so tiny. But the spring's not in the pocket. But when I put that spring in the pocket, I'm going to set this thing down here like this. And then I'm going to kind of scoop that needle up with the fork end of that metering lever like that. All right, let's try it out. Oh, get in there, spring. Please just cooperate with me. Dude, I told you to stay in there. All right, try it again. You know what? I guess I could just lay this in here. Duh. There we go. All right, set this on here. Scoop that guy in there. That. Look up in there, make sure. Yes, our spring is where it needs to be. All right, just like that. And you see how that metering lever now, the spring is pushing it up and down. What we want, and this used these Phillips screws. Put those guys back in there. This little Phillips screwdriver. Drive it in. Go in. Hopefully, this is the right spring. I put the WN in there, not the WE. WE is for the Western edition. I don't want that. All right, goes nice and snug. Looks good. And then we're gonna take this gasket, goes on here. There's a couple holes in it. You can see there's some alignment holes. Put that on there like that so it's aligned. Lined up. And this is our pump, our diaphragm. I'll lay on top of there like that. Oh yeah. Way better than that old one. Old extra crispy. Got the original recipe on here now. We'll be cooking. Put that plate back on. With these 4 flatheads in here. Looking good, looking good. I have to remember when I get to this stage, take your time. Start rushing things and you start forgetting stuff and messing up. What happens though is I get excited and I'm like, oh, I'm so close. I want to get this thing on here. I'm ready to hear it run and get it tuned up and cut some wood. Just gotta take my time. Still gotta put the carburetor on the saw. Put the saw back together. Fill it up and see if it'll run. I think it's gonna run. I think we're gonna hear it fire up and run. I hope y'all feel the same way. Maybe I'm too optimistic. Maybe I should be like, oh, this thing ain't gonna run, it ain't gonna do nothing. But I try to be positive. All right, don't need these right now. Get on these guys. So we got this. Put our new screen in there. Let's see. I remember how to do this. That's right. It's this one. It does go that way. Yeah. All the holes line up. And then these two flaps are covering up the holes. They kind of act like reed valves. That on there. That. And then this goes on here like this, I believe. Yes. All right. You got to make sure you put all that stuff on there correctly. Everything is oriented the right way, because if you don't, it ain't gonna work right. All right, it's nice and tight. And our carburetor is now rebuilt. So move some of this stuff out of the way. And let me grab the saw. And it is still pretty dirty. I didn't clean it up. We'll give it a quick clean up. Get up there. And then try to put it back together. Let me grab a couple rags. All right. Oh, it's really stuck on there. Apologize about the compressor noise. That air compressor kicks on and it's right outside the shop door, so it's kind of loud whenever I'm recording. Let me know if that's aggravating. If you would, maybe leave a comment about it. Let me know. All right, that's better. Set that one over there. I'm gonna try to clean this thing off a little bit more, but it's not too bad, really. Should be fine. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna reuse that gasket that's already on here. I think it should be fine. I don't have another one, so I'm gonna have to. That's fine. No big deal. Alright. I gotta remember how that went on there. On there just like that. Sit down in that pocket. Oh yeah. Let's go get the other saw, or other part of the saw. Because if I remember correctly, I have to kind of squeeze this thing in there because of the throttle linkage. Ah, that was a pain. I remember that. I don't know why they make these throttle linkages so difficult on some of these saws. Like, dude, come up with a better design, I feel like. Alright. Let's look at this. Let's try to figure this out. I know this obviously hooks into right here. A giant hole. Kinda. See there, we all can see that. It hooks in there. Still trying to learn how to work with the camera. I'm still not used to on that yet. Alright. Get up in there. Get back in your little home. Like this spark plug wire is going to get in my way. It'll be fine. We'll figure that out. All right, let's just get this throttle linkage on here. That's what we're trying to do. Look at this thing. Who designed this? Like, oh, let's I think it just hooks on there like that. Yeah. And it just pushes on it. Old school. Got my microphone clipped to the bill of my hat because I had it on my shirt when I was using the parts cleaner, and I've noticed that the audio kept having a scratching sound, and that was because my beard was rubbing on the mic. So I apologize about that. Still learning about all this video making stuff. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get it or not, but some people like this kind of content. They like watching people try to figure stuff out and work on things. I mean, I know I enjoy that. I like to watch several YouTubers that what they do. It's so weird. Why is this giving me such a? Why has this been such a pain? It's like that. I feel like it should hook in there more. Oh, come on, man. I'm just gonna push down on it. It'll be like this. Doesn't seem right. Try that way. Definitely doesn't go way up on there. I believe it just kind of barely hangs on it. God. All right, let's do this. On here. This close. Once we get this close, try to hook it on there and put it in the hole. What do you guys think? What am I doing wrong? Probably yelling through the camera, through the screen. Dude, it's not right. Trying, guys, I don't know. Okay, I think I see now. What I need to do. What I need to do here is
hook it there. That. And put that on there and slide it in. Looks like it's still in a bind. What do I need to do, guys? What am I doing wrong? Need to go up in there more? Maybe it needs to go in from the other side. Maybe that's what it is. Let me try that. One from the other side. Ooh. Okay. So I turn it around. Something so simple. I think that might be what I needed to do. All right, let's take this back up. Slide that on there. And then see if we can get it to go back in the hole. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Sometimes it's just something so simple.
Jeremy, that gasket company is on one again. Jeremy, Park 1.
Apologize about the intercom. The fuel line on there. This gas tank in there. Yep, that'll work. Okay. Let's go ahead and put our bolts back in. We need to do that. And bolt this carburetor back to the engine block. Oh yeah, here we go. And that was that 8mm, right? Yeah. It's nice and tight. Oh yeah. Close that choke just so nothing falls inside of there. Slide that back in there. That. I gotta get our spark plug wire. That was one of the things I needed to do. Squeeze it in there. Get in there, buddy. There you go. Through. Yeah. Came through. There it is. Our kill switch wire needs to go back on there. I think when I was taking this thing off, it just pulled off of there. But all right, kill switch wire is on. Our fuel lines are hooked up. So what else we need to do? You know what? I'll lift this thing off of there for the air filter. Let's go ahead and put that back on there. I can't believe y'all let me do that. Y'all sit there and watch me put this thing back together and leave that off of there. The least you could have done was say, hey, you know, you're forgetting something. See, this is what I'm talking about. I get close to putting it back together and getting it running, and I'm like, Oh, I gotta put this on. Let's put this on. Gotta do this. I end up forgetting something. It doesn't happen every time, but I feel like it happens more than it should. All right, get out of there. And he's probably like, "What do you want from me? You want to go on there? You want me to come off?" Okay. This thing goes on there. Like that. Need to figure out about an air cleaner. See, these tabs are kind of bent. One was. So I feel like something should go there. I need to look that up and see. Should have already done that, but I haven't. All right. Now let's tighten these bolts up. Good job, Sam. You just wasted several minutes of your life doing something that you should have already done. Okay, now slide it in there. All right. Yeah. Put our screw on there. All right. Make sure everything's gonna fit. Yeah, okay. There's nothing being pinched. Good deal. All right, let's go ahead and put those screws. We had some really odd screws that came out of this thing. I remember that. Spark plug. And then all these that held on the rewind, the recoil, and the handle. Grab the handle. Here she is. All right. Let's put these screws in. We had two on the top. I remember that looked like they were sort of factory. These two. They were both 25 torques. I remember that. Get the thing lined up. This one looks pretty good. One and two. Oh, see that? That's why I have that choke closed, because if I would have, that screw is not small enough probably, but if it was a small screw and I knocked that thing over there and dropped it down into the carburetor right into the bottom of the engine, that would be just absolutely fantastic, you know. That's why I do that. So it says Homelight Textron, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, 28217. Interesting. I'm guessing it was built in Charlotte, North Carolina. If anybody knows where that's at, drop a comment on there. Okay, we got two on the bottom. This shorty, I think that one on this side. Could be wrong. Then this really long one, like, why is there a long and a short? I don't know. We're gonna put them back in there, or at least attempt to put them back in there. They may not go. That feels a little off. Did the short one go on the top? Been a couple of days since I took this thing apart. It's always, yeah, it looks and feels pretty good. Whether or not that was the way I took it apart or not, I don't remember. Sometimes I get going and get all excited about it, taking something apart and digging into it. All right, tight. Let's throw these screws into this rewind, recoil, pull start. That was a 8. Yeah, beautiful. Pretty sure that this saw runs on 32-to-1 fuel mix, which is pretty heavy on the oil. But I mean, them old saws, they didn't even have. Let me clean the spark plug up a little bit. I could have put a new one in it, but this one was working, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Should have hit it on the wire wheel. It's fine though, it's pretty clean. Yeah, those old saws didn't even have 2-stroke oil. Back in the old days, guys just ran regular motor oil in their saws. So not going in there. There it goes. Wasn't holding it right. Wasn't holding my mouth right. Socket. Tighten that bad boy up. Let's throw the handle back on there so that everything is pretty much back together before we attempt to give it its first couple pulls. See if it'll start. I'm guessing it's going to take at least, I'm going to say 8 to 10 pulls before it pops off. What do you guys think? Well, everything is back together except for the hand guard. Let me throw that on there, might as well. It's not going to hurt anything. I do not have the blade on there right now, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. We can put that blade on there later. We just want to see if it'll run. Or even attempt to run with the carburetor. We'll see what happens. All right. Get some of these tools out of the way. Well, what do you guys think? We should try to start it. Guess that's what we need to do. All right, let's just see what happens. What's the worst that can happen, you know? Primer pools. All right. Back y'all up just a little bit. Give me a little bit more room. All right. There we go. Let's see what happens. It's 5. I say 8 to 10. She's getting fuel. Come on, girl. Okay. Still only want to run on choke. Turn my fan on. There's a bunch of smoke in here now. So, what's going on now? Might be out of gas. It's got some in there. Could have air in the line too. It kind of has to come. You know what? That ain't good. Why didn't I check that? Yep, there's your fuel filter down in there. Good job. Good job, dummy. There's your problem. Let's see. There again, I got it. Got in a hurry. All right, so I was able to get the old fuel filter finally fished out of the tank, and I threw a new one on there. So I got that, and I actually will show you this. I made a little air filter for this saw. I'll show you that. Look in there, yeah. So I had an old air filter, and I was able to cut it and allow it to fit in there, and then put that metal piece on top of it. So I got to that point, and I was going to try to run this saw, and then jump back to where you need to be. Ran into a little bit of issue with the bar and chain that was on it. Now, this is the bar that was on the saw, and this little chain guard here, I noticed it was all bent up, and that is because somebody has taken this thing. See, it's supposed to be flat, but it's all bent up and raised up. What they had done is they had put this on the saw first, which, I mean, that's crazy, but anyway, like that. And you have your chain adjuster underneath there, or your chain tensioner. And so when they crank this down and the bar down, they bent this all up. So that was the first issue. And then I noticed that I wasn't able to tighten this chain on the saw because this slot in here is way too long. So I was like, what is going on here?
And I'm like, well, obviously this is not the original bar that comes on these Homelite saws. So I was like, well, what do I do? What do I need to do here? Well, what I did was I went back on the Facebook Marketplace and actually found another Homelite saw that the guy was selling for parts with an extra bar, and he was selling all of this for 25 bucks. I tried to talk him down to 20, but the original posting was just for this chainsaw, and I asked him about the bar on it. He said the bar is good, and he's like, and I also have another bar. And I was like, well, I really just need the bar, but you know, that's a pretty decent deal. So I went ahead and picked up another Homelite chainsaw. This could be my parts off. I need any parts off of it for that one. But we're gonna take this bar and put it on this original Homelite chainsaw that we started working on in the beginning. So let me get some of this stuff moved out of the way, and we'll get this bar on here and hopefully fire this thing up. Maybe take this chain and sharpen it a little bit and actually put this chainsaw finally into some wood. And I'll show y'all, this is the reason why I got this other bar. I mean, you can see this is the bar that was on the chainsaw, and you can see the adjustment slot. And then this is the bar that should be on the saw. So hopefully we'll get this thing on here and we can actually have a tight chain on the saw. All right. Put this bad boy on here. So, turn this guy up. That thing over the clutch drum to the sprocket. There we go. And make sure the chain's in the groove. Get on there. Yeah. There it is. All right. Now, put this guy on here. Like that. Just got one bar nut. And one bar stud. That's better. Get it snug. Not super tight because we need to adjust the tension on the chain. There we go. Pull a little bit of that out. There we go. Make sure it's in the sprocket and in the groove. Good deal. Set it back down. Put some tension on it. There it goes.
Be easy with that tensioner. You don't want to break it. Chain's a little dull. So I need to put an edge on that chain. Feels good. All right, tighten that bar nut up. Should be good. All right. All right, we're gonna work on the Ryobi and show you some of the problems that arose on this thing. So, a couple things. See that right there? Yeah, not supposed to be like that. So, the chain brake handle here, obviously that was broken. That was one of the first things I found when I started taking this off. Then this adjuster right here, it was broken. So that was the second thing. So, what do you do? Well, go on eBay and just get the whole shebang. So, that's what I did. Went on eBay, got a new one, got the chain adjuster in, got the brake. So, hopefully, put this on here. That should fix our issue with this chain being way too tight. I remember when I first went over the saw and was looking at it, I kept noticing how weird that chain was and stuff. And when I started digging into it, I found those issues. So that kind of stalled me out on working on this thing until I could get the parts that I needed. I could have went online and got a handle, which some of this stuff they don't even sell anymore. You can't get parts for. I could have got a universal adjuster, changed all that out. But I mean, I got this on eBay for really cheap. So I just did that. I went that route. All right. Where is my scrunch at? There it is. This should be what I need. And it should be as simple as just putting this thing on here. The adjusters ran way out. Tell you what, all the trees are starting to get leaves on them, and all the flowers are starting to bloom, and pollen is really kicking up. I can tell. My nose keeps itching and stuff. All right. Set it up like that. Okay. Make sure all that's on there right. Just take my time. Just looking to make sure everything is the same. Just a little hole right there. So that's going to go in that hole. What am I missing here? The thing. Like it's here. That's what I need to do. There. Chain brake was on. I should have been able to tell that. It's just trying to be really cautious that I don't break any of this stuff. And obviously, whoever had it before, uh, they weren't all that cautious with it. So imagine that's why stuff was broken. It's all made out of plastic. I mean, I get it. I mean, plastic is cheap. It's easy to mass produce parts out of plastic rather than metal. But it's just not as strong. A little tension on that chain. Tighten that thing up. Come on, get in there. feels pretty good. Just a little tad more. Bar nuts. All right. There's that.
All right, let's test out this Ryobi. That's awesome. Free chainsaw. That's not bad. Got pretty good. It's not bad for a free chainsaw. And it's really not that big of a saw either. I think this thing may be like, it's under 50 cc's. Awesome. Try out this home light. It's not really designed for a log this big, but we'll give it a go. Not bad. Definitely need a chain. Need a new chain, or I need to sharpen that chain. It's a little dull, but I mean, this is some pretty hard, dried out oak, so I didn't think it did too bad. Man, that's awesome. Pick those things up for free. Put just a little bit of money into them, a little bit of work. But dude, I'm psyched about that. You can't beat free, man. I love it. Y'all stay tuned for the next one. We got some projects on the way that I think you'll definitely enjoy. So stick around and remember, Jesus loves you. He died for you. And don't forget the greatest sentence that's ever been written. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a great day.
He gets those old engines running again with the good Lord's help and a prayer. Amen.